Hey everyone, Dr. Nicola Ducharme here. How are you? So for many, many people struggling with Lyme, getting to that point of remission is quite a journey. It's like a huge mountain to climb, but it's possible to get there. And what I have noticed is in some of my folks that are really considered in that place of remission, this has happened a bunch of times now where a few months down the road or even a couple of years down the road, they start experiencing some symptoms returning, not feeling great, maybe ongoing fatigue. There's lots of different things that can get in the way. And of course, understandably, for someone who has fought so hard to get their health back and is likely so traumatized by the whole experience of Lyme disease, it's terrifying because the first thought obviously is going to be, oh no, my Lyme is coming back. And, when we work with chronic Lyme, we always talk in terms of, remission. We don't say cure. We don't say that Lyme is gone from your body forever and you'll never have to see it again. And look, I'll be honest, there are times where it is Lyme coming back. But in my experience, there are a bunch of other things to consider that may be contributing to that person not feeling as well that aren't just tied to infection itself. So I'm going to give you one example of that today, and then I'm going to unpack this a little bit more Monday mornings at 11 a.m. in my Dr. Nicola's Wellness community. I've been doing some a little bit more thorough kind of explorations of some of these topics. So I would love to invite you over there. In the Facebook group, it's called Dr. Nicola's Wellness Community. And I will sort of go through what my process is for troubleshooting, doing the detective work, trying to figure out what's going on. Is it infection creeping up again, or is it something else? So the one thing that I want to talk about today is adrenal fatigue. And, we know that our adrenals are our stress management centers, and that cortisol is impacted when we are under any kind of stress. That could be mental, emotional stress. It could be physical stress, nutritional stress. Certainly infections, toxicity, Lyme, mold, all of that, they are stressors on the body. And so our adrenals are massively impacted by that. And a lot of times throughout treatment, we do adrenal support, but I will tell you that the adrenals need to be supported way beyond the end of Lyme treatment, okay? The adrenals really take a thorough whacking, and it takes time to nourish them and nurture them back to their happy place. And so this is one of the big things I found, this has happened, like I said, more than a handful of times now, where somebody will be like, oh no, I don't feel as good. I'm tired all the time. What's going on? Is my Lyme coming back? And, one of the things I say is, let's look at your adrenals, see how they're handling it, because if your adrenals are worn out, then they can create a lot of symptoms as well. And there's been a handful of times where we did an adrenal test and we found that cortisol was in the tank, barely there. And so, of course, somebody with adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, low cortisol is going to feel worn out. And, it can interrupt sleep. It can interrupt so many different things. So one of the things that I screen for in that individual that's starting to feel symptomatic again, and, remember that they might say, look, this feels like my Lyme, but Lyme symptoms are so, I don't want to say general, that's not the right word. I know with Lyme there's a bajillion symptoms, but some of the symptoms, like fatigue, there's any number of things that can cause fatigue, or headaches, or not sleeping as well. So any of those things may feel like Lyme to that person because that's what they associate it with, but there can be other things that create that same symptom, if that makes sense. So my view is, we need to make sure there's not something else. It's very tempting once you have Lyme to put everything down to Lyme. And again, that's very understandable and that's very natural. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but we also have to stay open to the fact that there may be a new, source of toxicity. There may be a new exposure to something. There's a number of other factors. So yes, I will investigate infection, and when I sort of do this slightly more thorough training, I'll explain what testing I do for Lyme in someone who's had it already. So what makes the most sense to get the most accurate information. But I'll also talk through a few other points that I want to evaluate. If somebody is feeling like their symptoms are flaring, what are the other possibilities it could be? Okay, so Monday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time is when I've been doing these trainings. So please hop over to the group if you're not in the group already, and just request to be added. And I would love to see you over there. Right? Take very good care. I'll see you soon.